Welcome back to Straight Facts. It's Wednesday. The Don Husam is here with me. Man like Judgmo, a.k.a. the French film star down there in Cannes, living his best life. How are you, gentlemen? You both well?
Yeah, I'm good. Happy to be back. Straight facts, you know. Finally, the Euros is coming to a close. I told you, I guaranteed you that France won't win it. And yesterday we eliminated them, so that's a double W for me. And yeah, I look forward to speaking today. Hopefully the chess fans don't get triggered, but yeah.
Yeah, yes, you guys know, like the video before you go in, guys. Let's get to 1,000 likes actually live. And then if you're watching this on the replay, like it. So we get 2,000, 3,000 likes. Helps the show, helps the channel. Hit that like button. Don't be greedy. Just hit that like button. Don't be cheap. Like button is free though. Just hit that like button first, because this is going to be one hell of a show.
It is going to be a hell of a show. It's going to be an amazing show. 110%. Oh, okay. Apologies. I just see the private chat. There we go. But yeah, listen, everybody, strap yourselves in. Lots to talk about today on here as well. And I actually wanted to start with my beloved Manchester United. News this afternoon, and I'm going to put it up on the screen, that Man United and PSG are progressing in their talks over Ugarte. Both parties have moved closer to the valuation of the player, and the player is open to the challenge of United. Also, Man United are ready to complete the deal for Joshua Zirkzee in the coming days, according to Fabrizio Romano. So 2 more deals close for Man United. We've seen the Leny Yoro bid accepted. You've got the De Ligt deal that appears to be very, very close. We reported on that this morning. Man United seems, and Ten Hag himself in an interview today has said that up until a month ago, the whole place was chaos, but he's come back and it feels like a new place. It feels organized. It feels cleaner. It feels calmer. Is this PR? Or do you think Man United, when looking at these signings, the way we're operating, the feedback from players and the management so far, do you think Man United are turning a potential corner here, gentlemen? What do we think?
Mo, you have to go first because you said you're going to...
Listen, couple of things. Yeah. Quality signings. De Ligt, can't go wrong with De Ligt for that price, for 40 million in this day and age. Very good signing, to be honest. Zirkzee, amazing signing. Let's be honest and realistic here. It's very, very good signings. However, a couple of things, and I wanted to discuss it with you, Terry. There are reports that Erik ten Hag still have the final say in the transfers, which is what everyone told us is going to change. Reports coming from inside the camp that he has the final say. He has a veto still, and that hasn't changed yet, even though Dan Ashworth is in the club at the current moment. So that is something that people said that it will change. So I want clarification from you and the people in the chat. Probably they want to know from you, are a Man United fan. You want to know that as well. And also it's apparent from the signings of De Ligt, who's a Dutch guy, Van Nistelrooy coming in to assist him, another Dutch guy. Yes, Manchester United player, ex-player, legend, or whatever you want to call him. And also Zirkzee, another Dutch guy. So the signings are good. I'm behind these signings. But still, Ten Hag looks like he's making decisions. He's the one who's making a decision. And I was under the assumption that that's not going to happen.
This is you
and
cooking
the second part,
wow, you told me you're going to cook Terry this Wednesday. I'm not going to talk about Man United. This is the energy that you come with?
No, but to be honest, Terry said that it's going to change.
You praise them for 2 signings, and you're just like, Terry, can you clarify if Ten Hag is blah, blah, blah?
No, but to be honest, because I can't lie. I said on my channel.
Dancing around the point.
I am on my channel. Look, I actually like 2 channels.
Be a man.
I said that on my channel. I said I like these 2 signings. And I told the Man United fans, you cannot go wrong with Zirkzee for 32 or 34 million pounds and De Ligt for 40 million. So the 2 signings I praise Man United for. But it looks like it is still Ten Hag pulling the strings. It's still telling Erik ten Hag making making the decision. That's a couple of things, to be honest.
So I think it's a good challenge. I think it's a good challenge, to be fair. I think it's a good challenge. And what I would say is this. Do you remember about 5-6 shows ago, we put up on the screen the new kind of structure at the club. And we knew that the manager, whoever the manager or head coach was, they were going to have a say. So they were going to be able to select the positions of which they wanted to improve. And a list of players would be provided, and they could choose which of those players are off the list. I don't see how the situation is overly different from that. Secondly, And I've said this about Chelsea, so at least you know I'm keeping the same energy. Letting managers have a say on coaching staff, players that come in is fine when everybody is singing off the same hymn sheet. If you are trying to build a philosophy that manager is bought into and is trying to implement the same as the board, where it becomes a problem is if the board want style A and the manager is using his veto to build style F, and there is no there is no cohesion, there is no chemistry, there is no togetherness. So at the moment, I think it's a fair challenge, but it's one that nobody can really answer until we start to see the fruits of the labor. So I'm not going to lie and say, because initially a lot of the media said the new deal is going to remove the veto. Then some reports, not all of them, have said that it stayed. We haven't seen further clarity on that. That's one of those moments where I'm going to be objective and say that is a slight concern. However, I've said all along, I'm not going to throw baby out with the bathwater because there are certain elements I'm not liking. Overall, I like who we brought into the club. I like the restructuring. I love the majority of the signings that we are looking to bring in. I love that we have said, look, stylistically, from your coaches that you brought into the club haven't worked. We're going to look and help to bring new people in. And we've gone for a Dutch theme, which makes sense when you have a Dutch head coach. The only time this is wrong is if we are building it for Ten Hag, he fails, the next guy comes in and we say, right, everyone's leaving now. We're now going to bring a Spanish manager in and start hiring Spanish coaches that understand. Then I'm just going to say, well, we're in the same place as we were. We're basically doing a rebuild every single time we change manager. We don't know whether we're going to stay on this path until we have the opportunity to move until the manager leaves and that comes up. So there are definitely areas where there's question marks over.
Terry, can I tell you why I think you're wrong?
Go on.
I'll tell you why I think you're wrong. And, you started off your statement by saying you've said this about Chelsea, so you've kept the same energy. And I would start off my statement by saying I've said this about Chelsea and my club and Manchester United, so I'm keeping the same energy all the way throughout. I do not believe managers should play significant roles in picking out players. This has been, I've said this about my own club, Terry, so I'm not like sitting up here and waffling about something different. The reality of the situation is, look, I praised Man United. Actually, it's been very funny on Straight Facts over the last 3-4 weeks. It's usually been more attacking Man United than me praising them because everything made sense to me. The no Galacticos from the start of the graphic that Ineos posted, with no Galacticos, all that stuff. I agreed with them. I think the fact that they're getting in football transfer decisions, by like collective, I agreed with that. There's a lot of agreed on. But the one thing is, I'll say the veto power thing that came out. I don't think any manager should have any veto power because that's what led Liverpool from going to winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues to the position we were in over the last 4 years. You can build a very good team. You can build an unbelievable team. However, you won't be able to get over the line because the same manager will have loyalties towards the players that they themselves chose.
Yes.
And it might get to the position where you need that extra 2 or 3 improvements, but the manager refuses to get them, and you end up not getting over the line. Now, with Man United, the one thing I'll say, look, obviously, Xerxes is a good signing. Obviously, De Ligt, for the price tag, as Mo said, listen, let's be honest. 35 million, today's football, that's peanuts. That's nothing. Same thing with Xerxes, he's a young striker. So the direction is clear. We're going a bit more young, a bit more, trying to prove themselves direction, which I understand. But at the end of the day, it still stinks of the same kind of concepts. Like, signing Dutch players who have worked before under Ten Hag.
So I do understand that, but we've also put bids in for Branthwaite, Leny Yoro, Ugarte. There's zero connection to Ten Hag in terms of them. So that's focusing on one signing's played for him. Xerxes Dutch, but most of his career has not been in the Netherlands, in terms of, where he's learned his football. But what I would say is different is I don't mind if a manager has a veto as long as the options that he's choosing from are picked by the director of football. And I think we spoke about this last week or the week before. If there is a threshold to which Dan Ashworth and Wilcox have to find 3 players, we found 3 players that we believe all are good enough to improve us. The manager or head coach having the final say of those 3 is fine if all 3 are good enough to take us to the next level. There's a comment that came through, and I've lost it now. That's here from John that says, not on their own. That is where I would agree with you, Husam. If the process was, we found these 3 players, but Ten Hag can say no to them and just go out and buy his own guy, that's what I've got an issue with. Now, I don't think the veto is even at that point. It just means he can say no to a player that he doesn't rate to a certain degree. But if we're bringing in 2, 3, 4 options and they all meet the threshold, then it doesn't really matter to me. But I think there's one of these things in this circuit, and this is both positive and you could argue sort of subjective and a little bit objective when it comes to Man United. I think we can nitpick, and often we don't know the full ins and outs of these stories. We're all thinking and assuming because of one report from ESPN that the veto still remains. So far, no other journalist has reported on that. So we could find out in, it could be in 8 weeks' time that, Ornstein does an interview and says, oh, by the way, yeah, the veto was removed or whatever it may be. So my thing is I'm looking at the overarching business, how much we're looking to pay people, as opposed to nitpicking 1 or 2 areas I'm not happy with. And I think that the negative Man United fans that are out there, that's what they're doing. They're going, right, I love them 10 things, but number 11 on the list is, I hate it. So therefore, I'm going to focus on that negativity. I'm just not in that mindset. I think it's fair challenge. But overarching, I'm very happy with the direction that we're moving in. And the players we're linked with, I agree with both of you. I really, really like them. There's a great mixture of quality and experience. And look, I don't think we're going to get all 3 of these defenders. But, if we end up walking away with this summer with linked today with Ivan Toney as well, if we walk away this summer with Toney, Xerxes, Ugarte, Branthwaite, De Ligt and Leny Yoro, I'd look at that and think, what a potentially, you've got to see him play, a fantastic start to the new world and the new regime. And I know it's Ten Hag saying it, so maybe you can take it with a pinch of salt. I'm very intrigued to see what other stories come out. But one thing that was fed into me many months ago by journalists that I was talking to privately is that the feeling that Ineos had at Carrington when they first arrived was the place was chaos. The players felt it. The manager himself felt it. But the feedback slowly starting to come out is it feels a much calmer place to work, a more relaxed place to work in sense of the lack of chaos. And I hope that narrative continues because it's true. That is going to pay us dividends, probably even more so than...
So what if they disagree, Charlie?
Signing players? With who?
What if the board members want a player, but the manager wants player? Why? What happens?
Well, it depends upon what stories you want. And this is the problem with this in terms of, I think we've got to wait and see. And what I mean by that is there are some stories that say the manager gets a veto, but it's on the options that the director of football have brought in. So it's a case of, well, if he disagrees, he might get no. He might say, actually, I don't think any of these players are good enough, and he may say no to it. He may have that power still. He may not, but then he's not getting any individual. If it's a case of he doesn't get to select the shortlist and he gets to pick from the shortlist, then there is no issue. I also think Ten Hag has to think sensibly around the direction Man United are going in. And if he really wants to remain as manager, I think he realizes I've got to play ball. So there's an element here of, yes, it's in the agreement that he can veto, but maybe he's going to be sensible and not if he really wants to remain at the football club. This is why I'm not panicking about some of the areas that give me little concern, because we could all sit here and think of 20 or 30 positive permutations, 20 or 30 negative outcomes. So far, I think the mood and the news coming out of Man United is highly positive. So I'm going to stay in that camp. Doesn't mean I don't have concerns and worries, but I think the way we play football, the progression of the team next season, I think that will tell us the answers. I think that will be the answer, how we perform on the pitch versus nitpicking every single rule. And like people did. Some people didn't like the idea of... Some people didn't like the idea of no Galacticos, but that all depends upon your interpretation of what a Galactico is. So, yeah, look, for me, I'm relaxed about it. I'm open to the challenge that's there, but I'm not going to be nitpicking and throwing the baby out with the bathwater because the veto might still be in place or because there's a player we're signing that I don't personally like. I don't see the likes of Barada, Ashworth, Wilcott, Vivell all coming in and Ten Hag simultaneously just telling them all to fuck off and buying who he wants. I just don't see they would have spent all that time and money to allow that situation to happen. I think that there'll be a gentleman's agreement of some level. I don't think they've even kept Ten Hag if he was going to go against the grain and stop what they're trying to build. I just don't personally see it. I just don't think they're going to do that personally. That's my view.
Talking about the signings, though. Talking about the signings, De Ligt look very good. Xerxes, very good. Ugarte, I think he completes Meno. Listen, I'm consistent with this. Ugarte, I think he completes Meno and Bruno Fernandes.
You've absolutely bottled it.
Leny Yoro, though. Why are you chasing the girl that wants the other guy? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand this. Man United is chasing a guy that publicly everyone is saying that he wants Real Madrid. Fabrizio Romano said it, every reporter saying this. Man United, and by the way, this Man United bid accepted. Liverpool are willing to meet the 50 million euros. Liverpool were willing to meet that 50 million euros thing. Everyone that is in for Leny Yoro are willing to meet that price. Somehow Man United offered the money, unless there is something in the background that I don't understand. Publicly, the guy wants Real Madrid. Real Madrid are offering low money because they know that they have Lille's arm twisted because the player only wants to join them and he can stay next year and join on a free the year after, like what they did with PSG with Mbappe. They didn't want to pay the valuation. Why are Man United chasing this guy? It didn't make any sense to me that you're putting in a bid for someone who is still waiting for the other guy to come in, Real Madrid. You did what Liverpool did with Caicedo, basically. But it is so strange to me that Man United are chasing this guy.
So firstly, Leny hasn't publicly stated anything. In fact, a account posing as Leny Yoro yesterday tweeted that I don't want Man United, leave me alone. The player himself,
that's a fake one.
Yeah, the player himself has quote tweeted it, called the guy psychopath and told him to stop lying. Plattenberg has come out publicly and stated the player hasn't decided which club he wants to join yet. I'm fine with his preference being Real Madrid. I have no concerns about that whatsoever. So far, it's been stated that Real Madrid won't bid anywhere near what Manchester United have. And as long as he is happy to join Man United, and this is where I wouldn't compare it to another girl, although it's a funny analogy, is that professionally, and I know you've been in this situation because you're a successful man, you may have 2 or 3 companies making you job offers. You may have one that's the overarching preference of where you want to go, but you can still be open to joining other organizations. These are professional football players making business decisions, not emotional decisions based on who they love. Because as we know, you can't love 2 people at the same time. So it's a very different scenario in that regard. I'm happy with what we've done. I hate the PR that clubs put out of, oh no, we didn't bid because we weren't that interested, when in fact they did and they got rejected. I like the fact we're trying to sign him, because if Real Madrid don't offer enough money for Lille to accept, that creates the possibility that the player says, well, you're not that into me. Man United have made me the offer. They put the official bid in. Liverpool were interested, but they haven't put the official bid in. Man United have actually made the move. And if you want to use the girlfriend analogy, you know, there are a lot of women that will turn around and go, do you know what? Husam was probably the better looking of all 3 of us. And, you know, Mo, you know, he's got that great career and that success. But Terry's the one who actually come and spoke to me. Terry's the one who actually made a move. Terry's the one who actually made me feel special. So if you want to use that analogy, let's not pretend as men we haven't seen that.
No, I disagree with you. No, hold on. I disagree with him. The reason why, there is a difference between you offering, you're trying to buy the player from Lille, so you're trying to outbid Real Madrid. So you're really going to the girl's dad and offering the dad more money to tell him to convince his girl
hang on a minute.
to go out on a date with you.
Mo, I don't know how you date, but no one that I know pays a girl's father for a date.
But so here's the thing. This guy is under contract with Lille. Here's the difference. This guy at the current moment has a dad, and he hasn't turned 18 yet. So you cannot, he's still a minor. In the contract world, he's still under contract. However, it's 1 year left, and this guy can make his own decision, which is going to Real Madrid.
My analogy still works.
This is the same as Caicedo, by the way.
Let's just say Leny Yoro, okay, is a girl now. We'll do it from a girl's perspective. It's easier to speak about that way. And I'll do your analogy. Say he's a girl, all right? He's a girl. He likes all 3 of us. He likes Husam the most. But you have to ask the girl's dad permission to go on a date. If I'm the only one who seeks and gains the permission, that could change how she views all three men. And so I wouldn't have used your analogy. I'm just throwing it back at you. My view is, and I've said this about other clubs, so people hopefully know it's not a Man United projection. You've got to go in for him. When it comes to Mbappe, I said this loads of times, anyone with the Liverpool, Arsenal, everybody should have been throwing their hat into the ring. You get rejected, you get rejected. But if you don't try, you are guaranteed not to sign the player. I would rather us try and fail in a pursuit of Leny Yoro than not bothering at all. And I got a little bit of stick in the group chat earlier on today by Don, big up yourself, mate, who basically was alluding to, I'm paraphrasing here, like, oh, Terry's getting excited because his club's working on multiple transfers at once. Yes, because we haven't done that for a decade, and I'm noticing differences in our behavior that make me positive about the future, not even the here and now. So the fact we're working on Branthwaite, we're working on Delit, we're doing this with Leny all at the same time makes me happy. But for me, if the player chooses to come and play for us, especially as with all the other policies that are in place, we're not going to pay over the odds. We're not going to pay above our valuation. We're not going to pay ridiculous wages to turn the person's head. If we end up landing him, I'm confident that Leny Yoro would be coming for the right reasons. But if Real Madrid don't offer the contract, if Real Madrid don't put the bid in, or they don't make an offer that's acceptable to the parent club, Man United have a great chance of signing the individual. But if we don't do this, then he goes to Real Madrid for a cut price and it's easy for them. I'd much rather be challenging them for a player than just giving up at the first hurdle. I like that approach from Man United.
So if he joins Real Madrid, if he joins Real Madrid for a lower price than what you offer, would you say that that was a wrong chase then?
No.
But how? If Real Madrid is offering half the money you're offering, and at the end he chooses Real Madrid, that means you never agreed anything with him.
But I'm not worried. I'm not worried about being rejected. I'm not weak enough. I'm not a baby that cares about that. In my life, okay, I've asked women out on dates. They said no. I didn't go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I've done business proposals and not got them. I haven't gone, oh my God, I'm never doing one again in case I don't get it. It's just life. Only the weak are scared of rejection. I'm not scared of Man United being rejected. I don't care.
You don't care.
I would rather try and fail. I would rather try and fail than never try at all. And you've worked with me long enough to know I hate the club PR where everyone goes, oh no, we never put in an official bid when we clearly know everybody did. I hate that bullshit. I love this approach. Said it for years.
For me, so here's my view, and let Husam speak after this. I would like my club to chase people that are actually want to join my club. That's my point. I would not want my club to chase someone who's not willing to join my club or who's choosing another club first because he would come to my club as a second choice or third choice. I wouldn't want that. I want someone to want to play for the shirt, come in and make the play for the future for the shirt. I wouldn't want someone to come in who doesn't want to be there.
Let me tell him the problem, the logic. This is the problem of your logic.
Yeah, of course you have a problem. You got to, like I said, you have to make it up. Of course. You'll have to explain, Habibi. Of course.
You got to Terry, why did you buckle? Why did you buckle under pressure? Just like
Mbappe yesterday. Bro, I didn't buckle. What are you talking about? The difference between me and you is I'm an objective man. I don't come here without objective talk.
Why are you angry? Can I speak? Okay, Leny Yoro.
I'm not angry at all.
The exact opposite approach with Leny Yoro. We're basically saying we are only going to make a bid and try if Madrid say no. So it's the exact opposite approach. We're not speaking to Lille. We're not doing any of this shit until Madrid say, I don't want Leny Yoro. And then we will take the approach. So, like, for me, look, I understand that, you know, you have to get the yes from Lille because it accomplishes 50% of the deal, if you would like. But this is true in terms of the player wants Real Madrid. But here's the flaw in the argument, Mo. I would use your logic more if it was anyone else besides Real Madrid. I'll tell you why. I think Real Madrid are the most attractive club in the world, and they're the biggest club in the world. And I think 99.99999% of football players in the world would choose them. Last year, Bellingham, the whole 2 seasons, we were talking about him to Liverpool. And as well, Man City, make no mistake. So even if you say Liverpool aren't as attractive as City, don't offer as much money, that's fine. He still chose Real Madrid. At the end of the day, you're coming up against a Goliath. Okay, so you're coming up against a club that everyone wants to play for. So I have to accept, and I don't have to be egotistical, I have to accept that it's okay that I'm second choice to Real Madrid. It's okay that I'm second choice to Real Madrid because they're the biggest club in the world and they're the most attractive club. So from my perspective, I will say, look, because it's Real Madrid, I get what you're saying. But at the end of the day, every player will prefer Real Madrid over Man United or over Liverpool or over City or over anyone.
Can I ask Husam a question, Terry? Can I ask Husam a question?
I agree.
Go on. Would you say the difference between Chelsea and Bayern Munich is the same as between Man United and Real Madrid in terms of like how big the clubs are?
Chelsea and Bayern Munich. What do you mean?
Would you say the difference between Bayern Munich and Chelsea are the same difference between Real Madrid and Man United?
No, I think the
difference of the name.
Yeah, I think
are bigger. You think the difference between
Real Madrid
and Man United are bigger?
De facto number one in the world. It's different, completely different.
I completely
Chelsea
disagree.
and Bayern, you can compete. Liverpool and United, you can compete.
Guys, but what's your point, though? What's your point, either way?
The point is, Husam made fun of Chelsea fans because Ulisi rejected them to go to Bayern Munich. And now he's saying, yeah, it's okay because if he goes to Real Madrid, because your club got rejected by Jude Bellingham to go to Real Madrid. That's the same. I think
the way he doesn't want me to answer it. That's why he's upset. I'll say this and let you go.
He asked me, what's my point?
He just said, is the difference between Chelsea and Bayern the same difference between Real Madrid and Man United? I said no. And when I answered no, 1 second, don't interrupt. Yeah. When I answered no, it ruined his point. You know why it ruined his point, Terry?
It didn't. You still my point is that, Habibi, you're wrong. Habibi, you're absolutely wrong because in my opinion,
bro, you have
can we not fight? Can we not fight? Habibi, you are making the wrong point.
This is not Al Jazeera. Let me speak. Okay, let me speak.
Habibi, you are trying. Habibi, just wait. No, wait.
Just count.
No, you're making the wrong point.
Yes, I'm gonna finish. I have a louder mic and I'm gonna shout.
Guys, I'm gonna mute both of you. I'm gonna mute both of you. Hassan and Mo, please.
Speak 10 seconds. All I want is 10 seconds. Bro, point is, the difference between Real Madrid and any club in the world is not similar to Chelsea, Bayern, or any example you can use. If Liverpool and Man United were going in for Yoro, me and Terry will have a discussion. This club's more attractive, that club's more attractive. That's different. When you're talking about Real Madrid, you're talking about the Goliath of world football, Mo. We are all Davids compared to Goliath. When it's Chelsea and Bayern, it's David versus David. It's David versus a smaller Goliath. Shit like this.
Yeah, I disagree with this notion. That's the point.
Guys, can I just jump in for a little minute here, right? Okay.
But I disagree with him in this. He's making. Okay, so sorry, Terry. He's making statements as they are facts, and I disagree with these facts. These are not facts. These are objective opinions. So
I get that, but I think we're going away from the subject matter a little bit on that. And this is, I know you brought up the Elise thing. The difference is Chelsea said they walked away from Elise when we know it was because they were rejected. So for me, this is the difference. I don't care if publicly we rejected. Now, what you said earlier about someone, I keep hearing a noise. Is it in here, or is it one of you like a message noise, or is it me? Keep hearing like maybe
it's probably Tom Little, not us.
No one else is here. No one else is here. Like I sort of look at it from the perspective of like a lot of players will want Real Madrid, but maybe never go there. Like, when you said I only want a player that wants to be at my club, do you know what? It is a beautiful utopian situation to have a player that says I only want to be a Man United player, and that's amazing. But I don't think that's the reality of the world. Now, again, it comes down to the PR. So I've got sick to my back teeth, and the journalists now push this of it was only ever Liverpool the player wanted. It was only ever Man United the player wanted. I don't believe it in 99.9% of cases. Every single time I see Liverpool sign a player that Man United's name's been linked to, the Liverpool-centric journalists say, Man United were in for him and we got rejected. It's got to a point, and ours do it to them. And
vice versa, yeah. They left, by the way, last week.
It's become so obviously bullshit. These football players are professionals. And yes, they may think, I'd love to go Madrid over United. But then he might also go, I'd love Man United over Chelsea. But I'd love Chelsea over Aston Villa. I'd take Aston Villa, though, over Grasshoppers. But if only Grasshoppers make an offer that's worth it, it doesn't mean he doesn't want to go there. We are looking at this through a fan lens. And the media writes articles now based on the fan lens. Oh, I need to be made to feel special. Most footballers that I've ever spoken to don't even call training. They say, I'm going to work. They are professionals. And if Leny Yoro would love to go to Real Madrid, I'm not denying that. But based on what he said on Twitter himself 24 hours ago, if Real Madrid say we're not going in, we're not making that level of a bid, would he be upset and against going Man United? No. Now, I do agree with this super chat that says, where is it here? Shades of Di Maria, please never again can we sign a player that doesn't. Now, if Leny Yoro is saying, I really don't want to go and play in England, I don't want to be in the Premier League, yes, you don't sign him. That's not about him preferring Madrid. That's I don't want to be here. Like people keep saying, I want Zidane, I want Zidane. It's very well publicized. He has no desire to come to England. So that's one of the reasons why I don't want him, because is he really good? You could throw £500,000 a week in salary at him, but if he doesn't really want to be here, you're fighting an uphill battle to begin with. I just don't think it's as big a deal as people are making now. Man United are one of the biggest teams in the world, and I'm sure if the option to come to Man United arises, I'm sure he'd do a brilliant job and he'd do a great, he'd have the dedication when being here.
But do you acknowledge that Madrid are the Goliath, though, Terry? Because that's the basis level.
Yeah, of course.
Why do you want Terry to validate you? Are you not your own
guy? They're the most
Why do you want Terry to validate your point, bro? They are the most attractive.
Let's do some, guys. Let's do
no
some
one argued that. No one argued that. No one
we know they are. Let's do some more of these super chats.
In a 30-minute time ever.
This says Yoro.
You always say that. Try to be right, Habibi.
Guys, let's just crack on. Let's crack on with these super chats here. Sorry, guys. This says Yoro, Branthwaite, and Todibo were United's top targets for centre backs. De Ligt below them. Baffled as to how this is the same approach. Ban Dutch targets, maybe.
No, I'm not saying ban Dutch targets. I'm the one who brought up this point. I'm not saying ban Dutch targets, Aslan. And you know what it is? Terry mentioned, by the way, Terry, I don't think me or Mo can hear it. Me and Mo can't hear it, so it's definitely.
Bro, there is nothing I can hear, Terry. Nothing.
Do you have like a window open or something?
Hold on, Husam. Guys, we got about 3,500 people in the chat. Can you guys hear a noise? Yes or no? Just, I want everyone in the chat just spam yes or no.
Yeah, let us know.
Freaking me
out.
Yes or no. By the way,
guys. It's an iPad or it's an Apple product noise. I know that. I just don't know where it's coming from, and I'm the only one.
I don't even have Apple.
There we go.
All my shit is Samsung. Listen, you should not
watch the chat. Watch the chat.
I'm just saying, when you start talking about vetoing power and shit like this, that's where I would be a little bit concerned if I was in your shoes. That's all.
No, I understand that point. I do, and I'm a bit.
But I want to say one last thing about this before people go in for the super chat. I actually think if Man United at the end get this over the line with Branthwaite for the price they want, with De Ligt, they're building the red wall. And I said that yesterday with Husam, the day before. That is with Lisandro Martinez. That is a brilliant back line. I know a lot of people. De Ligt fit the red wall, yeah, like the Milan red wall.
Name the original red wall.
Yeah, Akhi Franco, but don't worry about this. This is not an exam for Mo here, right? This is not an exam for Mo.
Costa Correcta, Maldini.
Anyway, go ahead. The point about this is that you're not understanding the point. You are not understanding the point. These four players, Lisandro Martinez, Leny Yoro. Husam, let me speak, please. Please, I'm being serious. Leny Yoro, Branthwaite, De Ligt, right? And Lisandro Martinez combine experience, youth. They are giving Erik ten Hag the tools to work, to be honest, because De Ligt actually worked under ten Hag. He worked in the Dutch league and he was very good. I actually think if they can get these deals over the line, selling at the end, they're going to sell Casemiro, Lindelof. I think they're giving, Erik ten Hag, the actual tools to work. I think this is a massive upgrade on what Man United had. I don't know why you're laughing.
I'm letting you talk. Why are you angry, Mo? The red wall. Big up Maldini.
Yeah. Guys, let's get just because of interest of time, I want to try and get through these super chats. We've got a few other subjects. This here says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. This is very, very true. Mo, have you seen Moneyball? The Euro bid is tactical. There is a little bit of that. It should help. Yeah. Mo, why do you hate Ten Hag? You sound like Souness.
I don't hate Ten Hag. I backed Ten Hag the first year, but then he regressed second year, and I hold all the clubs to the same level. If you have credit in the bank, when you regress, I will still give you a chance. Erik ten Hag did not have enough credit in the bank. So at the end, Erik ten Hag last season had an absolutely abysmal and atrocious season. So I'm very skeptical about his success.
I found the noise. It's the fan blowing air for another fan and it's vibrating. Found the noise. I've seen what it
my
was.
days.
There we go. That's what it was. But it sounds like the messages that come through on a Mac. This year says what is wrong? Management give a list of 5 players for a position, and the manager picks 1 or 2 from that list. That's his veto. So what is the problem? I agree. If that's what it is, I have no real issue with it whatsoever, as long as the manager, the board, and everybody involved are on the same hymn sheet in terms of the direction. Terry, don't say because we're Man United in front of Mo. The guy finds it offensive and labels the fan base entitled because of it. Footy grudge, Mo. I like it.
Entitled fan base. Go ahead.
Moving on, I want to speak a little bit about Chelsea. We've obviously seen some interesting business go on so far with Tosin and Dewsbury Hall. Lots of young players being signed. Chelsea fans excited. So a lot of Chelsea fans excited since the club's released a lot of training footage. The aura of Maresca is being discussed, and there is this. Why are you laughing?
What's the aura?
Why are you laughing, Mo?
Why are you laughing?
What do you mean, yeah?
Why are you
That's not
laughing,
nice.
Mo? Why are you laughing? Stop laughing, Mo.
I'm sorry.
The aura of Maresca. Go on, Terry.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing this, and I mean, why are you laughing at Chelsea? I'm going to hand it over to you, Mo. Why are you laughing at Chelsea? I mean,
It's not me. He's the one who's laughing.
Why
Husam's
laughing?
not me.
Stop laughing.
Go on.
Stop
Go on.
laughing.
Husam, not Mo.
You know, there's a famous song came out in the 90s. This is how we do. I still remember Steven Gerrard walking out at Old Trafford, Aston Villa manager. People just playing that in the background, you know, music in the background as he walks out at Old Trafford. A year later, he got fucking sacked, and now he's the manager of Al Ittifaq. You know, there's no way people are using aura as a fucking logic of arguments when it comes to football. Aura, bro. تخيل. The logic now for Chelsea fans have gone to a delusional state beyond imagination, where now aura is being discussed. Genuinely, this season, my biggest enemies are Chelsea fans. You guys are lucky because I've signed a contract with the Football Terrace full term, so I'm going to be on straight facts for this next season, inshallah. I'm telling you right now, guys. You see you bunch of Chelsea frauds in the chat. I don't forget your names. I remember all your names. You saw one training video that is the exact same as watching a Brendan Rodgers training video or a Gerrard training video. Just a random, you know, the manager is telling them, yeah, run here, run there, pass the ball here, pass the ball there. You have become every single thing you hated. You, as Chelsea fans, have become the exact thing you despised. The same Chelsea pathetic fan base is now talking about trust the process. You want to be Arsenal so bad and you don't even realize it. You mocked Arsenal fans for the last 6 months of the season because they did not win anything, and you're Chelsea Football Club and you win trophies, and you have become the exact same thing you hate because your manager is talking about processes. All you're signing is a bunch of children. Let me interest you with a name of wonder kids from previous Chelsea eras. Gail Kakuta, Josh McEachran, Charlie Musonda, just lately, Callum Hudson-Odoi, the 1v1 demon, as he was nicknamed. I could go on and on and on and on with wonder kids. If Chelsea are a successful football club, out of the 6 wonder kids, 2 will work. 2 will work max. Max 2 will work. And one of them might be a star and the other guy might be a squad player. The other 4, we're never going to hear from them again. And I can use my own club as an example so you guys don't cry. 10 years ago, we had the young Robbie Fowler, Adam Morgan. He scored a goal in pre-season. Everyone was erect. We have the next big thing. He plays in Australia, played for Yeovil Town. I don't know where the fuck else he's played. Just in the Carabao Cup final. McConnell, Bobby Clark, Jayden Dance, Connor Bradley. I can go on and on and on with the youngsters that played. I don't think that all of them are going to make it to the top level because I'm not delusional like these Chelsea fans. The problem is Chelsea fans, and this is the problem. Chelsea fans speak out of both sides of their mouth. This is a statement that Terry taught me, English culture. They speak out of both sides of their mouth. You speak to a Chelsea fan, and then he says, Husam, my expectation is for us to get top 4 and win the Conference League. And the other guy says, we're building for our future because Estevao and Paez are going to be the next big thing. But which one is it? Because Estevao and Paez are not going to affect your short term. Your short term so far is Kiernan Dewsbury Hall and Tosin Adarabioyo. If I came to you in May and I said Crystal Palace are going to sign Dewsbury Hall and Adarabioyo, you would have said fantastic signing. So I just want to understand which direction exactly you're headed and what makes it the most pathetic. This is where the Chelsea fans have absolutely lost it. They are showing videos of Enzo Maresca just telling players in training to just pass and run. And they are using it as aura because the guy's in a fucking suit. It makes no sense. How many managers have you guys seen in suits in your whole life? You bunch of pathetic frauds. You are becoming Arsenal 2.0 and you just don't realize it. The guy said, trust the process. So it means don't expect anything in the short term. Don't expect anything in the short term. And the final thing I'll say, I think there is a level of copium here, Terry, by the Chelsea fans for this final reason. Terry done match reactions and top 6 shows and straight facts. And he was asking Chelsea fans, do you want Poch gone? Now 99% said yes because they're stupid, but they said yes. And then he proceeded to ask them, who do you want to replace Mauricio Pochettino? You know what they said? Hansi Flick. They said the best of the best. They put out their names of managers that are established and elite. You know who they ended up getting? Vincent Kompany 2.0. Enzo Maresca, who won the championship with Leicester. So now they have to go 180 degrees delusional to the other side and act like he's the next big thing in football and he's the next big thing in football and all of that shit. So this is the thing that I talk about. It's just, yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. And I can't wait for all these Chelsea fans to be Maresca out in December. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful.
It's all about expectations, though, Sam. It's all about expectation. The problem with some of the Chelsea fans, some people actually, and I watched this live, I was watching Husam on his channel, and some Chelsea fans literally commented on Husam saying that Chelsea, actually, we might challenge. Why not? We might challenge this year, this coming year.
This year, Terry, challenge.
Not in 2 years. Not like 24-25 season. They were commenting and they were fighting that why not? What would stop us, right? And the only reason why I would stop you is that you have a manager that has never, ever coached in the first division ever in his life. Ever, by the way. Has Enzo Maresca ever coached a team in the first division? Ever. In any country?
Parma and Leicester.
So the guy never coached in the first division ever. In any country. So it's more likely than not, the guy will a little bit take time. I'm not going to say he's going to fail or not going to fail. He might be Arteta 2.0. He might be Arteta. But Arteta, the first 2.5 seasons, was struggling. Big time. So at least take that as an example. Don't tell me, oh my God, we have a team that is ready now and this guy is amazing. Pochettino might have taken you to top 4. Pochettino took you to top 6. He might have taken you to top 4.
If they kept him, I think they get top 4 guaranteed next season. Guaranteed.
And by the way, it's more likely, and it's the probability is much higher that Maresca will struggle to implement his ideas in the Premier League, like Vincent Kompany didn't. He got relegated 1 year, and there is massive difference. When Vincent Kompany took over Burnley, they weren't that good of a team like Enzo Maresca took over Leicester City. And by the way, Vincent Kompany dominated the championship and then went to the Premier League, couldn't adapt, couldn't fix his team, and he got relegated. You're going to tell me, oh, but Chelsea have better players than Leicester. Well, you're signing Leicester players. You're signing Dewsbury Hall. You're linked with Adeyemi. If you were signing the Olise, when Chelsea were signing Olise, I said, yeah, it's a good signing. You're up in the level a little bit of players, but you aren't. You're linked to Adeyemi, and you aren't. Dewsbury Hall is a good player, but again, he's not going to make you challenge. Anyway, I don't know why Chelsea fans. I think it's all about what Husam is saying. They have to back this guy, otherwise,
it's actually copium.
Yes.
No, they have to back him. This is the difference. They have.
Yeah, they would look stupid. They would look stupid if they come out now. Only and I'm going to say this, only the people that are a little bit reasonable and they don't care about being wrong or right. All they care about is actually provide how they think. They're going to say it's an underwhelming appointment and we're skeptical about it. And we need to wait and see how this guy does. The other guy that keeps saying that he's amazing and fantastic, based on what? Like, what did you see?
You know, Mo, I'll give you 2 examples of exactly what you just said. I was watching one Chelsea stream, and it was exactly when Poch was sacked, announced. The guy was talking, and it came on the links. You know, Lewis, I'll call him out. The links of the players all came out, and there's like, sorry, the manager's link to Chelsea all came out. His words, wallahi, his words are the following. When he read the whole list, it was like Flick, Miguel Sanchez, blah, blah. He was going down the list, right? And then the last 2 linked were Maresca and McKenna. He was like, yeah, bun the last 2. Directly. His first response was bun the last 2. As soon as they got to Maresca, he completely changed. And on top of that, let me say one more thing. Big up to Troops, because I was doing a podcast with him and he told me, listen, this is what he told me. He said, because he was so anti-Arsene Wenger, he had to be the last one to turn on Emery. If you remember prime AFTV days, you know, the last person out of the original crew, if you would like, to turn on Emery was Troops. And he only turned because of the Xhaka incident and blah, blah, blah. And when I look at the Chelsea situation, I feel like people are actually going to be so delusional with their takes. It's going to be 180 degrees opposite of anything they said with Poch. By the way, you know one more thing about this aura thing? Quotes that Terry can put up on the screen right now from Enzo Maresca's press conference and from his first interview are the same exact thing what Poch said. What did Maresca say? We can challenge, we can win, we're a big club, we want to do this. Pochettino said the same exact shit 12 months ago. So the question I will ask Chelsea fans, are you going to keep the same energy and use Enzo Maresca's quotes against him come December time when you're in 10th place and you're fucking shit? That's the biggest question here.
Yeah. See, I find the whole conversation really interesting, and I'm not as downbeat about Chelsea as you are, Husam. I think that this could work for them. What I find really intriguing, though, is the split in their fan base. We know Chelsea fans quite well who are, you know, Don and Ches. They don't like me often saying this, but they're not making any predictions yet. But the way they talk in our group chats about other clubs tells you they're confident about Chelsea. There are other Chelsea fans I know, like CB. There are other Chelsea fans we come across, like Johnny Minerals, who are, I don't want to use the word panicking, but you can tell they are very stressed about the direction that Chelsea are going in. There's never a good place to be in when your fan base is so divided. The fan base being so divided tells you there's problems. Now, Arsenal, we're in a good space. There are some people that are not happy, but the vast majority are. You'll always find there's going to be, not everyone agrees, but it's the balance. And it feels like Chelsea are sort of split in 3. You've got a lot of people in the middle going, oh, I'm just not sure. And then you've got 2 big groups of it's a failure and I think we're going to cook. And that just shows you that people have predictions, but nobody's certain of anything. Does that make sense? There isn't a feeling around Chelsea that, yeah, this is going to work or this could be amazing. Listen, I'm not taking any notice of what Maresca says in his first few interviews. I'm not taking any notice as a rival of the first few training sessions, because I've seen every club do this and I've seen it work and I've seen it fail. It means nothing at this time. I remember watching Man United in pre-season under LVG going, oh my God, we are going to cook. And we lost our opening game at home to Swansea and we had a really, really difficult season. But I'm equally not going to do what others are doing and write Chelsea off. I think there is something about Maresca. I think he's highly touted. I think again, I would have said I don't want him when his name was on the shortlist, but I don't know him. Football fans are never should be as informed or more informed than your football club that have access to all the information. The only area, there's 2 things. I said one this morning that I stand by. Chelsea have got to stop the PR around these young signings. I get it with young Willian because he's a highly touted young Brazilian, but they're signing a lot of players that they're going to flip. They've got to stop talking to the Fabrizios and co about these players and just sign them and do a website announcement. Forget it. Because I think half the players they're signing are never for the first team. They're to loan out and they're to make money on their sale in the future to support them going forward. And I think it's murkying the water a little bit. The PR at Chelsea is really strong, and I think Chelsea fans are seeing through it and a bit jaded. I actually think they've done good business so far. I think Tosin and Dewsbury Hall good signings. They need more of that, and maybe a few players of a higher level. They linked to Adeyemi, and there's other names out there that I think they should be going for. But I don't right now think Chelsea are going to have a bad season. I just don't have that feeling. I think it's quite easy to go, yeah, they're screwed. I actually think they're going to surprise you, Husam. I actually think they're going to be...
Can you define success? You said something,
define
Terry,
success.
and I really want to... I was waiting for...
Great
you said,
point.
I think this can work. Define that can
yes,
work so we are on the same
from
page.
Terry's perspective.
So
don't tell
on the
us
same
fans,
point.
your perspective, neutral, tell us.
Yes.
So when I say it can work and success, it's a great question to challenge that. So I'm looking at this through a Chelsea lens. Success year one would be challenging for top four, maybe finishing between 5th and 6th, but being close to that top 4 area, looking threatening, maybe even winning one of the domestic trophies. I think that they should be looking to win the Conference League that they're in. Their squad, they're going to have the best squad in the Conference League. They just are. The teams at that level are nowhere near the team that finished 6th in the Premier League, in my very humble opinion. So they should be looking to win those. They should be like what Man United are doing. You're looking to rebuild whilst winning. That is what I think Chelsea could be aiming for. So that would be a successful first season. But within that, the style of football looking better, more goals, harder to break down and to beat. When I talk about this working, I'm looking at this on as a 2 or 3 year approach where they can get back to winning Premier League titles. I think Maresca has the ability to do that based on what I've read, based on what people say. But it's the ability to do it. It's about patience from Chelsea fans. It's about Chelsea fans who are maybe not getting. This is where I would turn around and say to Chelsea fans who are right now backing him, he may not pick the players to play that you want. There comes a point where I think you've got to let a manager cook somewhat. You're gonna, if the results don't quite go your way, you're gonna get stories that come out that sound negative. I think Maresca might expose a few players that Chelsea fans think are good enough for the team that are maybe not quite at that level. Chelsea fans have got to get out their feelings and their emotions, and they've got to start thinking objectively about what's best for their football club, as opposed to, well, I haven't got what I want. That is one area of it. And secondly, their board has got to stop chopping and changing. Short-term contract for Poch, long-term contract for Maresca. They need to decide on a style of football and a manager, and they need to work on that, and they need to implement it, because until they get that base style, everything else is going to struggle around them. But I think this could be a success for them. You know, I get a lot more Chelsea fans give me shit because I'm happy with what Ineos are doing than I'm giving them. There's certainly areas to criticize, as I've criticized with Man United. You know, I'm not over the moon about the link to De Ligt. I'm not over the moon that we kept Ten Hag, but I'm being objective. I'm doing the same to Chelsea. And a lot of people laughing at Dewsbury Hall. I think that's actually a good signing. The element that I find really interesting is Chelsea fans I've spoken to don't want to answer who's missing out in that midfield, because Dewsbury Hall is going to be a starter for Chelsea. Dewsbury Hall is not coming in to... I mean, someone said he's coming in to replace Gallagher. Gallagher's a starter. He's basically your captain because Reece James is always injured. So if he is replacing Gallagher, he's a starter, whether you like it or not. And I think it's about being honest with yourself. And Poch was a problem, and I stand by that. And I back the likes of Don and Ches. He was a problem. But I feel like the conversation became polarized. It doesn't mean that some of your players were also not below the standard either. Yes. And I think there'll be and I've seen Man United go through this do you know what? Donny van der Beek is going to cook now that Ollie's gone. He just got sold for £500,000 because he just isn't that good a football player. You know, the fact that Ajax don't even want him back, it's objectively, sometimes you've got to just say, I was wrong about something. And as far as the discourse is, and I think fan discourse and I think fan mood is important because it feeds into a dressing room. We know that the players see what we say, not me individually or you individually, but we know that they know what goes on our social media platforms filters into these dressing rooms. And I think that Chelsea fans have got to try and come together somewhat and stop being so emotional at all times about every little detail. It's crazy to me. And I'm talking about someone who's seen my club go through where Chelsea are right now. And that triggers some, we're nowhere near where United are. You are. There's different nuances and there's different areas, but they've got to get this right, Chelsea. I think Maresca could be an excellent manager for them. I like some of their signings, but they need some unity. They need some positivity. They need their fans to get behind them. and they need a few more signings of the tossing level and above. And I'm talking age category, really important.
Yes.
And they could be a much better, and they could be a much better team. And if they get themselves back into the Champions League next year, then I think they're going to be okay. And within 2 years, I think they'll be challenging for Premier League titles.
Terry, can I just say one thing, please? The first point you made.
Go on.
I think what you said, and even Mo will say this, is fair. Challenge for top 4, win the Conference League. That is something even as quote-unquote people think me and Mo are Chelsea haters would agree with. You want to know the problem? All I had to do was look at the first comment when you were speaking. Adam 127, right there. If Chelsea don't get top 4, it's failure no matter process or project. Do you understand that the difference is the fan base you're dealing with? You've done the football terrace for 10 years. I think it's objective to say that the least patient fan base is the Chelsea fans. Is that a fair statement, Terry? Least patient. Like they have no patience whatsoever. As soon as shit hits the fan, they directly turn on the manager. There is no real affiliation to managers like that. They turned on Conte, they turned on Mourinho, they turned on Sarri, who even ended the season winning a trophy and top 4. The truth is, the problem with the process is the people at the stadium are not used to a process. And the people on social media are not used to a process. So what Terry says, I have no problem with. And I'm sure Mo has no problem with it. Challenge for the top 4, finish 5th or 6th, win the Conference League. You want to know the problem? A Chelsea fan in the chat will say right now, if we finish 6th or 5th, I want Maresca gone. I want the next manager. Because that is failure in their eyes. And this is what I am arguing. I'm arguing from their perspective that they need to be more realistic about where their team is and where their squad is. Because they don't have a better starting 11 as currently constructed than even a Spurs or an Aston Villa. Never mind the Liverpool and Arsenal or a City. I think I see an escape and an exit easier for Man United than I see for Chelsea. That's the reality of the situation. You guys, Abdi's calling you not true and a liar. Just earlier on when Terry was talking, he said top 4 and winning the Conference League while doing well in the domestic cups. Guys, there is no, listen, your team has no Essien, no Lampard, no Drogba, no Cole, no Petr Cech. You have Petrovic, you have Reece James, who's on first name basis with a nurse. You have 2 center-backs who are young, inexperienced, keep getting injured every 3 seconds. You have left-back that you want to get rid of, and the other left-back, half your fan base don't rate. There's a banner by your fans that if you sell Gallagher, we riot, and he's going to be the one that leaves the first 11. The same manager that put in a whole 2-page shift about Enzo Fernandez now has to choose whether he's going to bench Enzo, Caicedo, or Lavia to play Dewsbury Hall from the Championship. Your front line is completely reliant on Cole Palmer. Please understand, Chelsea aren't as good as you think. Now, the thing is, we're being actually objective. People think we're hating. I'm not hating at all. Me and Mo sat here and said, if Chelsea get Olise, they will be extremely dangerous. Did we not say that, Mo? Just yes or no before I continue. We said that, right?
Yeah.
We said it. We gave Chelsea credit when they signed Tosin Adarabioyo. We actually credited Chelsea for the Dewsbury Hall signing. The only thing I questioned is, okay, could Maresca be involved in this deal? Given the fact that, you know, they said that Pochettino wanted too much to get involved in the transfers, and that kind of maybe backfired a little bit. But the overarching point is Chelsea currently constructed aren't as good as people think. I think Chelsea have 2 fantastic players, and I mean fantastic. Palmer and Caicedo. Those are the 2 players that you have that are fantastic. The rest, there are question marks. There's injury proneness. There's inconsistencies. I mean, half the fan base wanted Raheem Sterling, you know, sold on a free this summer. 3/4 of the fan base can't stand the sight of Mudryk. Jackson, for the first half of the season, was getting compared to Højlund and Nunez. This is the things that we talk about. They completely ignore all these things. People were saying Gallagher has been a better midfielder this season than Enzo Fernandez for the club. This is the thing that we talk about. Stop over like, you know, exaggerating how good your team is, because it's not that good. The same players that you're relying on next season are injury prone and couldn't be relied on this year. There are people who are talking about Fofana. Fofana's played like 5 games in 2 years.
Husam, let me add to Husam's point just a small thing. The difference between us talking about Chelsea and some of the Chelsea fans is that normally when a club go into a season, there is a maximum objective and the minimum you can achieve. If you go to Liverpool, he says, my maximum objective is probably challenge. My minimum is to get third. My minimum. If I get third, I'll be happy. The difference between us talking about Chelsea from outside and Chelsea fans is that you guys are saying the minimum is to get top 4 and a trophy. That means you are going into the season expecting that you can actually get third or second, because that will be, this is your benchmark. You're getting, if you get top 4, I'll be okay with it. While we're saying, if you get top 4, it's great. And if you get 6th, 5th, and challenge for to get a final or something, it's good. It's okay. You guys are saying to us, no, the minimum is top 4. That means you believe at the current moment that your team can challenge, can get higher than top 4. If the minimum is top 4, you think you can finish above Liverpool. You can go higher than this. I think it's crazy to think that a new manager like Maresca, with these players, can actually be given everything to like, oh, you're going to get top 4 and it's done. Like top 4 is out. Some Chelsea fans told us top 4 is ours. We can even go higher than that. I think it's crazy to think this. I think it's very, very optimistic. It goes to touch a delusion, to be honest. At the current moment, Chelsea, you are in the area of Spurs, Aston Villa. By the way, Man United with Xerxes, with the signings they're making, and if they get Ugarte, I believe Man United starting 11 might be very competitive to get top 4 as well. So Chelsea aren't better than all these teams.
And
You just
Man United
aren't.
have done it more recently, as well. Just 2 years ago, they got top 4.
Yeah, that's what Chelsea fans don't understand. I don't
Chelsea
understand why people call us deluded. Why?
There are Chelsea fans in the chat that are saying, don't hate on Mo and Husam, they're just saying the truth. And that shows that Terry, when he first started speaking about the divide in the Chelsea fans, he's right, because he sees the comments. There are people in the chat who are saying the same. First of all, there's the same robotic shit. He's just jealous about Lavia and Caicedo. And there is other people who are saying, we're hating and we're just being negative. And then there's people who are saying, okay, let's actually listen to what they're saying, not how they deliver it and who they support. And this is the problem. All I said was there are so many players that are injury prone, unproven, and not good enough for Chelsea Football Club. And I named the 2 players that are really good, and people are angry. You cannot expect 2 players to take you to a top 4 finish. Palmer and Caicedo alone aren't going to be able to take you to top 4. That's why you need help from other players around in the same team. So this is the thing for me. People just need to chill. And when you say trust the process, you guys need to understand. I'm a chemical engineer. Processes is my career is processes. Everything goes in a step-by-step basis. It goes to the mixer, and then to the distillation column, and then to the blah, 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 and then to the blah, 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 and the heater, and the cooler, and then the packaging, and then the delivery. Everything comes in steps. Now, here's the thing. If you tell me minimum top 4 in the Conference League, you're telling me I want to get to packaging before I even get to the mixer. This is the problem. It logically doesn't make sense. You're in the mixer stage right now. You're at the start. All I've done is we're putting the chemicals, which is the players, in the tank, and it's mixing right now. That's it. Now, whatever comes on the end of it, we will see. You could be at step 4, step 3, but don't go all the way and tell me top 4 and a trophy or we failed, because then you're putting completely unrealistic expectations on your own manager that said trust the process. So if you wanted Maresca and you're happy with him, trust the fucking process then.
Do you know what I find really interesting? I actually thought I spoke quite nicely about Chelsea. But this here from this guy says, Terry sounds insecure because he knows Chelsea's squad depth is scary. This is where I know some Chelsea fans that are being positive are actually worried, because you didn't listen to a word that I said. I think Chelsea have got a lot to improve on. I think they've got to get themselves back up there. But I'm not as downbeat about them as others. I don't think everything they're doing is wrong. I think the PR is wrong. I think when they keep signing these youngsters, and that, I think they make Chelsea fans think about, oh my God, this guy might be our new striker. And I guarantee, like, if you actually go back and look at the last 2-3 summers, what, 60-70% of the youngsters they've bought have barely kicked a ball, will never kick a ball for them. They're here to be sold on making money in the future. And but most clubs, when they buy those players, don't make a fanfare about it. They've almost got to be less American and less noisy and keep things a little bit closer to their chests, I think. But they do need some more players. But I can't judge their summer yet. It's not finished. And we're still in a stage where it's hard to get players. I know that most teams are now out of the Euros and Copa America, but players are on holiday. I think by Monday, Tuesday, we're going to start to see the transfer market really accelerate. And I think there's a really good coach in Maresca. I do. This year says some people are just happy to see their team again.
But Andre is the Chelsea fan, guys. Andre, I love you, my brother. But if you went to Stamford Bridge and ask 100 Chelsea fans, or if you ask 100 Chelsea fans online, they're not going to say, I'm just happy to see my team again. As you can see in the chat, Abdi, who's calling me out, says top 4 and a trophy. There is people, Terry, Don, he thinks Chelsea are better than Liverpool. How can you fix that delusion? How? How can I fix that shit? I can't. You can't fix that.
I don't want to put words in Don's mouth because he's not here to I'm not saying what you've said is. I'm not going to put words in his mouth because he's not here to speak about himself. But I can only go by what I see in the group chats. You know, the other day, someone in our comments said that he thinks United will finish above Chelsea, and it was the way in which he laughed. So if he said to you that he thinks they're better than Liverpool, he's laughed at the concept of United finishing ahead of them. I don't think he's worried about Villa or especially not Spurs. And he calls out Arsenal quite a lot still in the group chats, that is. So that's someone that's really supremely confident. I cannot wait to see the predictions of certain Chelsea fans. But what I find is interesting, because I believe fans are so powerful when it comes to football clubs and influential, the divide, the difference of standards, the difference of expectations, it's never great when they're all so varied, because it makes a toxic environment. There's very little unity, and they've got to find some. Chelsea fans will be the reason the process fails, is what Propaganda Machine says here.
I told
Manny says, you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. Chelsea fans have become Arsenal fans during our banter era. Glad a neutral sees it.
Yep, I see it.
Don't recognize this word process, must just be me.
They don't have processes. They just don't.
Yeah, but that's because but this is the irony, that they are real. The problem that you have is that you cannot look at football clubs as a monolith. And as a Madrid fan, you cannot look at clubs and go, why don't they behave like us? Well, they're not you. The same as, do you guys know who Molly May is?
Yes. You all have the same 24 hours in a day. Big up Love Island. I love
that. Yes. So I find people that say, well, we should all just behave like Real Madrid, is the same as saying we all have the same 24 hours in a day. The same as saying, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, not everybody has bootstraps. It's too generic to say, well, just behave like Real Madrid. You can only really behave like, you can have the desire to get there, but you can't behave like them day one. You might want to be, I want to be a billionaire like Elon Musk, but you can't wake up this morning and do what Elon Musk does, because you ain't got the money for that and facilities, big man. That's where the process comes in. Real Madrid are at the peak of their powers because once they built a brilliant team, they've maintained their process to stay there. If Madrid fell off and became AC Milan, financial issues, lost their great squad, went decades without winning major trophies, the process to get back to the top would need to begin. So you would need one. The fact that gets ignored is crazy to me. Big up yourself, bro. Don is the Chelsea egal, let's be honest. So Arnie Slot doesn't get third. You want him out.
Hello, Matt. Nice to meet you. You get me. I'm on the football terrace a lot. And in case you guys are all unaware, I am worried about the Arnie Slot era. And I think it might be trouble for us next season. And if we don't get third and we play like shit, yes, I want him out.
But the difference is that Liverpool are not going for a rebuild. Liverpool are title challenging already. Theirs is not a rebuild. Chelsea needs structural rebuild within their club, and patience is needed for it. I also, as much as I don't agree with all the over positive Chelsea fans, the ones that are just like, let's behave like it's the Roman era. No, that's not going to work either now. Whether you like it or not, it's not going to work either, because you're not that team anymore. It's just you need to meet in the middle here somewhat, in my very, very humble opinion. This here states, big up all. I actually think the bigger picture is the board and all the decisions they make behind the scenes at Chelsea. Too soon to complete. Yeah, I agree. Of course it is, Z. Husam, I think you talk sense sometimes, but also a lot of shit. Relax. The season is just 5 weeks away. You're going to be so shocked with what Chelsea does.
I know exactly what it means. You talk sense, but sometimes a lot of shit. It just means you disagree with how I deliver my information, not what I actually deliver. Shout out to a certain Spurs fan that I did a Straight Facts show with 8 months ago. I'll go back and watch it, and everything I fucking said happened. But because I delivered it like an asshole, people got upset. But hey, it is what it is. This is life.
I want to just touch on Arsenal quickly. There's a report today that Nico Williams has agreed a deal with Barcelona, but also on top of that, and I believe the story is here, Arsenal have also set to have contact with him. Do you see this as the one that's kind of got away now? Do you think Barcelona are going to get this over the line, or could Arsenal sweep in and take him away from joining the Camp Nou?
He's hard to set. He's hard to set on Barcelona, and he's hard to set. And he hasn't agreed personal terms with anyone. And I don't think he wants to join anyone. He wants to join Lamine Yamal. He wants to stay in Spain. He wants to join Barcelona. And actually, the Barcelona president said that they are willing to meet his release clause and they are willing to actually pay him the wages he wants. Even if Arsenal win for him, and I would have loved to see him in the Premier League. Listen, we watched the Premier League, and I want to see the guy in the Premier League, but I don't think it's happening. I'm not sure how much Arsenal can offer the kid to join them. I don't think they're going to offer him 300, 400K to join because Barcelona are willing to offer him what he wants. Yes, he got away from Arsenal, but there are alternatives as well. He is not, with all due respect to Nico Williams, he's a good player. And yes, we watched him in the international tournament. We watched Enzo Fernandez in the international tournament. And look at where he is now and how he's playing for Chelsea. For
you have a Chelsea agenda, Mo. Why you bring up Enzo?
I do have a Chelsea agenda. That's why you. If you will, to be honest with you, Nico Williams. Last year I didn't watch him a lot last season. I'm watching it. He has the talent. 21 years old. But there are more players that Arsenal can get. And if this guy wants to join Barcelona, he wants to make a lot of money, he can go. He got from underneath their hands, but I don't think Arsenal fans should cry about this. There are other wingers. There's a Pedro Netos is there. There are other wingers around that Arsenal can get. I know Nico Williams is talented. Why? Why I'm gaslighting? Why?
The Pedro Neto thing, you know that's gaslighting.
Why is gaslighting? I don't get it.
Never fit, Mo.
But that's what
availability is the best ability. Remember Thomas Partey?
There are a lot of players that had long-term injuries, and since then they haven't had any other injuries. I'm assuming that is the case because they were linked to him. But anyway, moving on from your comment that has nothing to do. It's not gaslighting. There are other wingers in the world that they can move to. Nico Williams, yes, he's going to cost £50 million. There are other wingers they can buy. There are other players they can buy as well. It's not only set on Nico Williams. Good player. We watched him in the Euros. Look very good. But the guy wants to join Barcelona, and Arsenal shouldn't cry on this. They should be all right that they were in for him. But I don't think they bid for him or anything. I actually don't think they did. They didn't bid for the guy. They were willing to pay the release clause if he agreed to join them, and he didn't. That's why they didn't bid for him. They acted like they want a player that wants to join them. It's simple. And he was okay in La Liga last season. It's all right. Like I don't know why a lot of Arsenal fans said that this got from our hands. He didn't want to join us. He just wanted to join another club. It's just simple. There's nothing to be crying about here at all. By the way.
Thing is by the way, I agree with Mo. There is really nothing to cry about. At the end of the day, sometimes the Premier League fans, us as fans, we live in our own bubble where we think our clubs is just everyone's dream. At the end of the day, listen, we have to sometimes put away the fans lens and think from a footballer perspective. Nico Williams grew up in Spain, Spanish, supported the players of his national team, watched the likes of Xavi, Iniesta, and multiple different Spanish stars make it to the top of pinnacles of football, playing for Barcelona, for Real Madrid, even for a little bit for Atletico. So at the end of the day, listen, Barcelona are more attractive than Arsenal to a Spaniard or to a South American player. I think as well where you're from, how, which country you're raised in and shit like this. These things do play a role in like who you want to play for. And even the fact that Jude Bellingham is from Birmingham, he grew up in England. He idolized Steven Gerrard. He still chose Real Madrid because the aura and the attraction of the club is much higher than anything we think. I think with Nico Williams, at the end of the day, Barcelona are going to be more attractive to a Spanish player over Arsenal 90% of the time. Like that's just my honest opinion, and I don't think they should read too deeply into this at all. And at the end of the day, could go get other players, who play on the wings, who can make an impact. But the one thing I'll say to Arsenal fans, listen, and I know Mo knows this, I really think Arsenal are going to win the league next season. But this transfer window is the most important window of their whole life. And I genuinely mean what I'm saying. City, Terry, just so you know, can give you exclusive. City aren't all sunshine and rainbows as people think. It's not a matter of, oh, City done a 4-peat and they're just going to shit over everyone next season. I don't believe that. I think KDB is talking about Saudi, Eder's talking about Saudi. There will be surprise players that leave that shock people. At the end of the day, City currently, as things stand, because of the hearing that's happening in November, and Mo will know this because you watch the Italian league, all these people who you thought were in love with Juventus, like everyone left except like 4 or 5 players, you know, the likes of Buffon and like Camoranesi and Nedved didn't leave, but everyone else left. And when you look at the current situation at City, obviously the players are not sat back going like 100% they'll be persecuted and relegated, but there might be negative consequences in which they don't want to involve their future. So I don't think things are sunshine and rainbows at City as people think. And from Arsenal's perspective, listen, Arsenal cannot be stupid this transfer window. Arsenal need to be extremely smart this transfer window. I genuinely believe if you tell me right now, Arsenal signed 2 players, but it's just in the positions that they need. I think they can win the league next season. I think they desperately need an 8 because Thomas Partey is there at home to Bournemouth when you don't need him, but when you need him in the other games, in the important games, he's not there. And I think they need a forward to put the ball in the back of the net. And I watched what one of the guys said on the top 6 shows. I think it was Henry Wright, who said, listen, Arsenal scored X amount of goals. Here's the thing. Yes, they did score a whole lot of goals last season, but those came in culminations of games like the Sheffields and like these games where they kind of slapped teams. Remember that they had the run where they kind of started slapping teams by 5 or 6 goals over like a 4 or 5 game period. And it kind of increased their goal difference by like 20, 25 goals. But before that, their goal difference wasn't that high. And I'm not going to ignore a large chunk of the season. I still think Arsenal need a goal-scoring forward. And I'll tell you, there's an even bigger reason. The reason why Arsenal need a goal-scoring forward, whether it be on the wing or up top, is because they need someone to alleviate pressure off of Bukayo Saka. Every time I watch Arsenal front 3, it's like the pressure of the entirety of the Arsenal fans is on Bukayo Saka's back. And he's the one who needs to get a goal. And he's the one who needs to get an assist. It's like Liverpool, when we had Sadio Mane alone, we went through the January period. We lost all 6-7 games in that January period without Mane when he went to AFCON. And then he came back, we started winning again. We brought Mo Salah in. Suddenly Mo Salah scoring goals, Mane scoring goals, and the pressure is off of Sadio Mane's back. And he brought out the best in him. And I think Martinelli, Trossard, Havertz, Nketiah, Nelson, whoever the hell you bring to the table is nowhere near Saka's level. Your team cannot be Saka, Odegaard, inshallah. No, you need someone. You need a running mate. You need someone to score goals. And I think even if it's someone as simple as an Ivan Toney or just someone who could get you, Terry, just 18, 19 Premier League goals. Nothing special. A goal every 2 games, you know? 18, 19 Premier League goals, 20 Premier League goals.
Yeah.
Arsenal win the league.
They need the 1-0 guy. That's what they're missing. They need that 1-0 guy, that 2-1 guy. And I don't think it's going to be like Kai Havertz is a good player. He had a good second half of the season. They need that guy that will win you the game when it's 1-0 and it's clunky and it's not working. You need that world-class player that will win you that game. And it cannot be all the time, as Husam says, the suckers. And that guy, maybe it's an Isak, maybe I don't know who else, maybe it's an Osimhen. I don't know who that player is, but they need to spend the money on that player. It might have been Nico Williams, it might have been someone else. They need that guy. That guy exists. Because I don't think it's going to be the Kai Havertz and all these guys. I don't think so. Yeah, it's not. I didn't even speak about Arsenal yet.
I know.
It's
Madrid fans says City didn't win the league. Arsenal lost it twice. My club needs to replace Partey this window, and I am kind of scared it won't happen. It'd be really. I mean, there are some gooners I've seen online who don't think they're going to sign a top quality forward or a top quality midfielder. If that happens, I think maybe Husam, your opinion would change, right?
If what? If they replace Partey, or they don't?
If they don't sign the top midfielder and or a top attacker, would your opinion change?
Yes, because as good as Arsenal are, I still think they need 2 extra pieces. Calafiori is a fantastic signing, but
for them.
It wasn't the main thing.
Todd Bowley's accountant says, Terry, you can't call the show straight facts and then invite a fraud like Husam.
From the original straight facts crew, Husam is the only one left standing here. That's number 1. Number 2, me and Mo completely agreed on the Chelsea section. So how's it big
On-
up to
on-
Mo, but fuck Husam?
What I'll say is this, though, is straight facts is called straight facts. Is a dig at anybody that gives an opinion and said it's a fact. It's not. I still don't realize that people don't know that. I think we need Mr. 2 or 3-0 to kill off games. Yeah, but the world-class guy could also help you do that as well, can't he? Like, he can do both those things. Yeah. If Argentina win the Copa America, who is better, Spain from 08 to 2012 or Argentina from 2020 to 2024?
Spain. I go Spain as well.
Spain. Obviously,
Bro,
guys.
Argentina, as of now, didn't play anything. They play Panama, Canada. Who else did they play?
Even if I'm not looking at that, the quality of football in South America now is crap compared to back then when Spain had to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
You look at the Brazilian team, respectfully, Richarlison's their number 9.
Yeah.
Like that,
England,
like Aston Villa midfield.
England play the Dutch tonight. What's going to happen, boys?
2-1 England. We know. 2-1 England. Saka's going to step up. I actually think England going to win this game. I think Southgate has all the tools to play counter-attacking football, and the Dutch will actually give him the chance to do that. And Saka's going to rise, and I don't know who else. All I think is Harry Kane is going to start. We know that what is the decision is going to be about Phil Foden is the biggest thing. In my opinion, this is Phil Foden's game as well. In that transition, he has to pick up the ball and make things happen when England play on the counter-attack sometimes. He's the guy who should be picking that ball, the number 10 or whatever you call it. Best player in the Premier League, I'm looking at Foden. I'm looking at Foden in this game, to be honest. I'm looking at Foden to actually get the ball from Declan Rice and Kobe Mainoo, get it to Bukayo Saka, get it to Harry Kane. It's his game. It's his game. Run that Mitchell, Phil Foden, if he's starting. And this is his chance. Lamine Yamal yesterday literally picked up the ball and said, I'm scoring, I'm winning this game. He was amazing, right? Lamine Yamal. Phil Foden, you're the best player in the Premier League. Do it. You are the one. I'm not looking at Bellingham clutch moments. I'm looking at, to be honest, and it's not an agenda against City, by the way. I am looking at the best player in the best league in the world, Phil Foden. When are you going to rise? If it's not the semi-final in the Euros, when are you going to rise? You're going to play a central role in this game. Rise. Do something different. Bukayo Saka had his moment. Bellingham had his moment. This is your chance, Phil Foden, to shush everyone and silence the critics. It's his chance, to be honest. He needs to rise. It's his game today. And he needs to do what Lamine Yamal did yesterday when he told people to shut up. Phil Foden, do something today and silence the critics. We'll all be silent if Phil Foden lead England today to the win. He's not a youngster anymore. Isn't he 24 now? Isn't he 24 years old? He has been playing for years and years. Rise.
Listen, I'd love to see him rise tonight. You know, I'm quietly confident we can win. The Dutch are not going to be a pushover, but we can go through, and I hope we do it. I mean, it would be against the odds, really, because of how we've played for large parts of this tournament. But once you're in the semi-finals, anything is possible. And this year says, why did Southgate take a left winger and left back that he won't play? Harry Kane is poor, but won't give Tony the minutes. Play Palmer in the 10 and Trent to spray passes. Drop Walker. Play Konza and Gahey. Southgate has poor tactical skills. There is an element of truth to that, but do you know he would set a new English record tonight if he was to win this game? Though it'll be the first final England have ever got to off of English soil, and it would be the second final. It's weird, right? This is why Southgate's he's so Marmite to me. He's given us our best performing tournament since Sir Alf Ramsey, but yet we rip into everything he does. And if he was to get over the line and win this damn tournament, I don't know what you just can't criticize him then, can you? You just can't criticize him. But yeah, some of the decisions are weird. There's no doubt about it. You know, it almost like he brought Ivan Toney in, but he was bringing Watkins in to begin with. He's done some strange things. But when we say how are we here, the Dutch haven't been much bloody better, if we're being absolutely honest. The French were in the semi-finals and only scored their first goal from open play yesterday. And after that goal, They stunk the house out again, and they were everybody's favourites going into the tournament. The only Germany were until they play Spain. The only consistently good team this whole tournament has been Spain. Everybody else has been up and down, hit and miss, weird decisions. I've loved the tournament because anyone can win any game, but it's been the weirdest tournament from the bigger nations perspective the whole way through. I don't know if you guys agree with that. It's been a very, very strange one.
Yeah. Nobody. The minnows play better. Turkey played better. Georgia played better than the big nations. There are a lot of Switzerland.
Guys,
Austria
breaking
played
news
better.
according to Simon Jones, Adeyemi just rejected Chelsea because he wants Champions League football.
No, that's not true.
No, that's not true.
Go look at it. Simon Jones right now. Look at it. Literally, I want you to send me the picture.
Oh, wow.
Breaking news. He doesn't want them. I'm literally looking at the tweet right now.
What?
Chelsea have shown interest in Karim Adeyemi, but he only wants Champions League football if he is to leave Dortmund. Right there.
And Simon. Oh, wow. Okay. Hard luck, Chelsea. Hard luck, Chelsea.
Yeah. Up the Chelsea.
Hard luck, Chelsea.
Back to the topic at hand. I don't know if I can play the Netherlands national anthem. I would, I haven't learned the words yet, but I'm going to learn it for later. Listen, fuck Gareth Southgate. Unless Trent starts, then it's God save the king. And if Trent is on the bench, it's come on Netherlands. That's just how I'm operating in this tournament. I'm going based off of Liverpool players because, Netherlands have 2 Liverpool players. I'm supporting them. Gakpo, my forward is cooking. Van Dijk is my captain, so I have to wish them well. But England are crap. And listen, Terry talks about credit and shit. I get it, but I get to credit no one for beating Slovakia. So, they didn't even beat Slovenia, Serbia, shit. Like, I ain't trying to do that, I'll be honest with you. Every time you've come up against a worthy opponent, you've lost. So if the trend goes on, you're supposed to lose today to the Netherlands. So listen, it could be a replay of the 2010 World Cup. It's Viva España regardless in the final. I have to ride out for my Spanish boys. But England suck because of the manager and nothing else. If Arsene Wenger or Jurgen Klopp or any manager of caliber whose offensive thinking was the England manager, I think they would have won the World Cup and 2 Euros by now with this group. And I'm not even exaggerating. One of the most talented sides in the whole competition plays the shittest football. And you know what always proves my point? 20 minutes only, Mo and Terry. 20 minutes is all I need. The 10 minutes when England were 1-0 down to Slovakia and the 10 minutes where England were 1-0 down to Switzerland. You saw football from England that you haven't seen all competition long. Sexy football, beautiful football, pass and move, delivers, crosses, everything. And they ended up getting the equalizer. And this, for me, is the level that England is capable of playing. And I look at these teams and I go like, if they were playing attacking football, I think they would have beaten Slovenia by 3. They would have beaten Slovakia by 4. They would have beaten Switzerland by 3. I think they would have been the most impressive team in the tournament so far. But instead, the manager wants to go with Walker and Trippier as the fullbacks. He wants to go all out defensive. So this is what happens. This is what happens.
Yeah, listen, I understand where you're coming from, mate. I do. This super chat here says, Hassan's spitting facts. Hassam, do you still believe that Arsenal is Liverpool's side chick? North London remembers.
Matheus, I just want to say something. After you sign a peace treaty, you let go of everything in the past. Me and Arsenal last summer came together, signed a peace treaty. We started the Live Arsenal movement to combat a bigger evil. And, we haven't mentioned those times ever since then. Big up.
Which nation has fallen from grace the most? Brazil or Italy?
Brazil, by far.
Brazil. It's Brazil.
Brazil, by far.
I mean, Italy did win the Euros.
Italy didn't make World Cups and didn't make it to the tournament. Like, Italy didn't make it to the tournament.
True. But Brazil, I think for Brazil,
Macedonia.
Yeah, but I still think the drop off in Brazilian quality is. I never thought I'd see it. I never thought I'd see a Brazil squad that looks like this. Is crazy to me.
They still have some of the best players in the world. That's the thing. The difference between Brazil and Italy is that Brazil still have some of the best players in the world. The likes of Vini Jr. They still have these guys. The Eder Militao in defense. They have Alisson. The Brazil still have names that are world stars. Italy completely are gone. Italy have Scamacas, and this is Italy. Anyway,
when you look at Brazil,
get your-
Brazil were I swear they're like currently 5th in like the CONMEBOL qualifications, and they're like in a really bad place. Brazilian football is in its worst ever state. I mean, you go watch the Brazilian national team, bro. Uruguay went down to 10 men. If I were watching Brazil from 10 years ago, I'm not even gonna go to the golden era. If I were watching Brazil from 10 years ago, I think the Brazilian team would have won like 5-0. Uruguay were crap too. I still see Martin Caceres playing for Uruguay. You know, like it's just it's not like they have amazing players or anything, but they really couldn't do anything to harm the Uruguayans, and that's what it's just. Yeah, Brazil fell off a cliff, man.
It's crazy. Look, boys, I want to thank you both for coming on as ever. Always a pleasure to sit here and speak football with the two of you. Viewers, remember we are live after the Netherlands versus England later tonight, so we want to see you all back here for the match reaction. It's either going to be 2 finals, 2 Euros running for England, or it's going to be disappointment and heartbreak. So, of course, we want to see you here. You want to get your views. You want to get your opinions on all of that. Over 1,000 of you have hit the like button so far on this video, which is amazing. Until next time, everybody, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you in a few hours. Peace.
Come on, Netherlands.